Hello everyone, Navi Walker here. Welcome to my third Photoshop tutorial. Today's tutorial we will focus on color blending, tool settings, tips, and some tricks you guys can use to make everything go a little bit smoother. If you noticed from the last tutorial, I went back and edited the painting from last time. I added some more detail to the base color mapping to make these next steps a bit easier. Also, as you can see, I have a number of groups for different areas of the painting: hair, eyes, skin, etc. I do this just to keep things organized so I know what I'm working on. This is not a necessary step, but I find it helps if you work with a lot of layers. Now, first thing you want to do is create a new layer. I'm going to place mine into my skin group and make sure it's above your basic color layer but below your outline layer. I'm just going to name it Blending Layer 1. Again, make sure you lock the layers you're not working on to prevent drawing on areas that you don't want to. So now onto the blending. This process can take a very long time. On this video alone I spent over an hour just blending color, but as you get better at this technique you will get faster as well. The basic goal is to soften the lines where the colors meet. Select your standard brush. There are 4 attributes to the brush that I constantly change depending on what I'm working on: opacity, flow, hardness, and brush size. The 2 that get adjusted that I use and adjust the most are opacity and flow. Let me explain what these 2 things do. Opacity determines how much color and light is allowed to show through the layer above. Now, flow controls how fast color is added to the image. A high setting like 100% will apply color instantly, while a lower setting will add color at a slower rate. If you're still having issues understanding what these tools and settings do, I recommend opening a new canvas and playing around with them until you figure out what everything does and how it affects what you're working on. Now, as far as blending, I have mine set as such. I usually have opacity set from 60 to 100%, flow between 1 and 15%, hardness between 0 and 30, and my brush size is always varying depending on the area I'm working on. There are 3 commands that I use quite often, and I recommend having easy access to: eyedropper, color swap, and undo. If you have a tablet, these are great commands to have bound to keys on the tablet as well as the pen. I have the eyedropper tool set as my secondary click on the pen, and color swap and undo are bound to the keys on my tablet. So let's get started. The basic goal is to soften the lines where the colors meet. Do this by sampling colors from each side and slowly merging them. This is where the flow control and opacity come in handy. As you can see here, I'm just sampling colors from where 2 colors meet and swapping between them and gently blending them together, trying to get them to look natural. Having a reference picture at this point would be great. You can see where the shadows are and the highlights are. That stuff's a little more down the road, but we'll get into that. These layers will help with other steps we have to do down the road with things like shadows and highlights. So again, put detail into these as much as you can. Now, I can't really say that I have a set guidelines for every situation, but when it comes to blending, I really do it based on feel. But I can offer a few tips on how to check your progress as you work. If you're zoomed into an area, zoom out and view the whole picture. Also, you can toggle the layer you're working on, the blending layer, and see what the changes have been made to the base layer. Turn the outline layer off to see how it looks without an outline, and I also recommend having a reference picture somewhere to look at, whether you print it out or have it on a separate screen or in the background. Remember, this is only a first layer of blending. There will be more, but don't make this one sloppy. Be detailed. There will be other layers after this one that will improve upon this blending layer. I can't stress this enough. You should really be saving very often. You don't want to lose your hard work if something goes wrong, so I save every 5 to 10 minutes. Alright, we're going to speed this video up. just to stay within the time constraints. So yeah, here we go. So after about an hour's worth of blending, you can see what we've come up with now. You can see the colors are starting to blend together. It's less camouflage looking and more skin. Very smooth, very subtle changes in color. That's the kind of effect you would like to have at the end of this. Now, again, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is only a first layer. However, in the next video, I do recommend that people go about trying out these techniques I've showed you and almost finishing the skin layer off. Remember, these techniques can take a while to learn and master. Don't expect to get it on your first try, and take your time with this. Be as thorough and detailed as possible. It'll just help out in the end. Alright guys, thanks again. My name is Navi Walker. This is my third Photoshop tutorial. Be sure to look out for tutorial number 4, where we'll be focusing on just the eyes. Alright, thanks again guys.